my wife said after I caught her cheating. It was just one night. You can forgive one night, I replied in perfect timing, actually. Then I pulled out the prenup I'd had her sign that specifically penalized infidelity with a $500,000 clause, when her lawyer called me begging to settle because she'd get nothing in the divorce. I, 35 male, came home early from a business trip last week and walked into a nightmare. I run a software consulting business, built it from scratch over the past decade. It's done well, really well. My wife and I have been married 6 years. No kids yet because she always said she wanted to focus on her career first. She works in marketing, makes decent money, around $60,000 a year. We live comfortably. When we got engaged, my lawyer pushed hard for a prenup. The business was already worth over $2 million and growing. I wasn't trying to be cold about it, just practical. I'd worked my tail off building that company. My wife fought it at first, the usual stuff. Don't you trust me? And marriage is about partnership. But I held firm, told her it wasn't about trust, it was about protecting what I'd built before we even met. If she really loved me, she'd understand. We eventually worked it out. The prenup protected my business and pre-marriage assets. Everything earned during the marriage would be split normally, except for one clause. My lawyer suggested adding an infidelity penalty. If either of us cheated, we'd forfeit our share of marital assets and owe the other person $500,000. Basically making cheating extremely expensive. She signed it, had her own lawyer review everything, all legal, all binding. That was 6 years ago, so I come home early from my trip. Flight got canceled, caught an earlier one. Landed around midnight instead of the next morning. Pull into the driveway and there's a car I don't recognize parked on the street. Walk in the house, everything's quiet. Head upstairs, bedroom door is closed. I can hear sounds, you know what kind. I stood there for a minute, weirdly calm, just thinking. Then I pulled out my phone, started recording audio and knocked. Scrambling sounds, voices, door opens and my wife is standing there in a robe looking like she's seen a ghost. You're home early? Yeah, who's in our bedroom? Some guy appears behind her, younger, maybe late 20s. Looks terrified, he's pulling his pants on. My wife immediately starts crying. Baby, I can explain, this isn't... It looks like you're sleeping with someone in our bed. It just happened. We had too much to drink and it just happened. It's not an affair or anything. The guy squeezed past us and basically ran down the stairs. Heard the front door slam, car starting, tires on the street. My wife grabbed my arm. Please, it was one night, one stupid mistake. You can forgive one night, right? I looked at her, really looked at her. Perfect timing, actually. What? Walked to my office. She followed, still crying and talking. Found our prenup in the safe, brought it back to her. Remember this? Her face went completely white. Section 7, paragraph 3, infidelity clause. You cheat, you forfeit marital assets and owe me $500,000. That's not fair, it was one time. Was it one time with this guy? Maybe. How many others? She went quiet. Pack a bag, you're staying somewhere else tonight. Lawyers can sort out the rest. You can't kick me out, this is my house too. Check the deed. House is in my name. Purchased before we got married. And per the prenup you just violated, you don't have any claim to it anyway. Called my lawyer right there. Left a voicemail that I needed to see him immediately, that my wife had cheated and I had evidence. She spent the next hour cycling between begging and screaming. It wasn't fair, I was overreacting, she loved me. It was just physical. I was being cruel. The prenup was insane. No court would enforce it. I didn't engage, just told her to pack. She finally left sometime after 3 o'clock in the morning. Went to her sister's place. I sat in my office until sunrise going through bank statements, looking for patterns, hotel charges, weird expenses. Found some things that looked suspicious. Called my lawyer back when his office opened. Got a meeting scheduled for that afternoon. That was a week ago. It's gotten messy. Update 1. Met with my lawyer the day after everything exploded. He's handled my business stuff for years. Solid guy. Showed him everything. The prenup, the audio recording, the suspicious charges I'd found. He went through it all carefully. This is airtight, he said. Prenup is solid. You've got clear evidence. It's met. Both parties had separate counsel when it was signed. Courts will enforce this. So she gets nothing? She gets her personal stuff, her car if it's in her name, anything that's solely hers, but marital assets, the house, joint savings, no. And she owes you $500,000. Can she even pay that? He shrugged. Her problem. We can set up a payment plan, garnish wages if needed, but she'll definitely fight this first. He was right. Her lawyer contacted mine within a couple days, wanted to meet and discuss terms. The meeting was at my lawyer's office. I sat on one side of the table. My ex sat on the other with her lawyer, some young guy who looked like he was in over his head. Her lawyer started with the expected arguments. Prenup was signed under duress. My wife didn't understand what she was signing. The penalty was excessive and shouldn't be enforced. My lawyer calmly pulled out documentation. The prenup clearly showing both parties had independent lawyers. Certification from her attorney confirming she understood everything. Proof she'd successfully negotiated other parts of the prenup showing she knew how to protect herself. Her lawyer switched tactics. It was one incident, one mistake. The clause was way too harsh for a single occurrence. The clause doesn't specify how many times, my lawyer said. It says infidelity once counts. My ex jumped in. You're really going to destroy my life over one night after 6 years? I looked at her. You destroyed the marriage when you brought someone else into our bed. I'm just enforcing what you signed. I was drunk, it didn't mean anything. Should have been more careful then. Her lawyer cleared his throat. My client will walk away from the marriage with nothing. Just asking that the penalty not be enforced. Clean break. Nobody owes anybody. No, she agreed to the clause. She violated it. She pays. Meeting ended with nothing resolved. Her lawyer said they'd filed to invalidate the prenup. Over the next week, things got ugly. Her sister called screaming at me. How I was vindictive and heartless. Her sister made one mistake and I was destroying her over it. How I must have never loved her. She broke our vows. That's on her, not me. You're hiding behind some piece of paper. She signed that piece of paper, hung up. Then her mother called, crying, pleading. Her daughter was a mess, barely eating, couldn't sleep. She should have thought about consequences before she cheated. It was just physical. It didn't mean anything. Doesn't matter. Her mom switched from begging to threatening. Said she'd tell everyone what a monster I was, how I'd trapped her daughter in a manipulative marriage. Do what you need to do. Then came Facebook. Her friends started posting vague stuff about toxic relationships and financial abuse and men who use money to control. Didn't name me, but everyone knew. Some mutual friends reached out. I kept it simple. She cheated. Prenup had an infidelity clause. I'm enforcing it. Most people got it. A few sided with her. Said I was being too harsh. Lost a couple friendships, whatever. Her lawyer filed the motion to invalidate. My lawyer forwarded me a copy. Their argument, penalty was excessive and punitive, violated public policy, was unconscionable. My wife was coerced into signing. My lawyer's response was beautiful. Case law supporting penalty clauses, documentation that both parties had independent counsel. Proof she'd negotiated other terms showing she wasn't coerced. The fact that she'd lived under this agreement for 6 years without complaint. Motion was scheduled for a hearing in a few weeks. My lawyer was confident. Meanwhile, my ex started texting me directly, apologizing, then angry, then begging, a constant cycle. Can we talk about this like adults? We are, through lawyers. You're being so cold, this isn't who you are. And the woman I married wouldn't have cheated. It was one mistake. One mistake that violated the prenup. You knew the consequences. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling, whatever you want. The marriage is over because of one night? 6 years mean nothing? They meant something to me. Clearly not to you. Blocked her after that. Everything through lawyers from then on. Got a call from my lawyer a few days later. Her lawyer wanted to negotiate again. They're offering to drop the motion if you waive the $500K. No. Figured you'd say that. Just confirming. She signed it. She pays. Got it. The court date is coming up soon. The hearing happened last week and went exactly like my lawyer predicted. Her lawyer showed up with a folder full of arguments about why the penalty clause shouldn't be enforced. Spent forever talking about how $500,000 was excessive, how penalty clauses should be scrutinized, how it was punitive instead of protective. Judge listened patiently, then asked, "Did your client have independent legal counsel when signing?" "Yes, but..." "Did that counsel review and explain the infidelity clause?" "They did, but my client didn't fully understand." "Is your client a college-educated adult with full mental capacity?" "Yes." "Then I'm stopping you there. Both parties had counsel. Terms were clear. Your client successfully negotiated other clauses, proving she understood how to protect her interests. The infidelity clause, while significant, isn't unconscionable for protecting assets in a high-net-worth marriage." Motion denied. My ex started crying. Her lawyer looked miserable. Judge turned to my lawyer. "File for dissolution and enforcement of the prenup. Given the evidence is clear, I'm inclined to grant summary judgment." "Thank you, Your Honor." Outside the courtroom, my ex tried to approach me. Her lawyer held her back. "Please, can we just talk?" Kept walking. Her lawyer called later that day, sounded exhausted. "My client wants to settle. She'll give up everything if you reduce the penalty." "To what?" "She's proposing $50,000. That's 10% of what the prenup says. She doesn't have $500,000. She'll be paying this forever as it is. Should have considered that before she cheated." "Look, I'll be honest. We have no legal ground here. The judge made that clear. My client is going to lose everything and owe money she doesn't have. I'm trying to find middle ground that doesn't destroy her financially for life. She signed a contract. She violated it. Consequences were clear, not negotiating." He sighed. "I'll tell her. One more thing. Tell her to stop having family and friends harass me, or I'll file for a restraining order." "Understood." That was a few days ago. It's been quiet since. Reality setting in. I guess my lawyer filed the official divorce papers with prenup enforcement. Given what the judge said, he expects it finalized in a couple months. But here's where it got interesting. Remember those suspicious charges? I hired a forensic accountant to dig deeper. Turns out my ex had been having multiple affairs over the past 2 years. Hotel charges, gifts, payments to various people. She'd been using our joint credit card for all of it. Thousands of dollars worth. The accountant documented everything. Full report with dates, amounts, locations. Showed my lawyer. "Does this change anything?" He reviewed it. "Yes. This proves a pattern, not a one-time mistake like she claimed. It also shows she used marital funds for affairs, which is dissipation of assets. We can claim that money separately." "Separately from the prenup?" "Exactly. She spent roughly $15,000 on affairs according to this. That's money she owes you outside the penalty clause. So I'd be owed $515,000 or total, potentially." He filed an amended claim. Her lawyer called the same day, panicking. "Are you kidding? You're adding another $15,000? Your client used marital funds for multiple affairs. That's dissipation of assets. She doesn't have this money. Not my problem. She shouldn't have spent it on cheating. This is excessive. The judge won't..." "Judge already upheld the prenup. This is just accounting. See you in court." The final divorce hearing is scheduled soon. My lawyer says it's basically a formality. Prenup gets enforced. Assets divided per its terms. She gets ordered to pay. How she pays it, don't know and don't care. Wage garnishment, probably. Payment plan, whatever the court decides. Got one last text from her yesterday from a number I didn't recognize. "Hope you're happy. You've destroyed my life over a mistake. Everyone will know what you really are." Didn't respond. Forwarded it to my lawyer. "I'm not happy. This whole thing sucks. But I'm not letting guilt override a contract she willingly signed." She made her choices, now she deals with them. Update 3. Divorce finalized last week. Took about 2 months total from catching her to the judge signing off. The hearing was quick. My ex and her lawyer showed up looking defeated. Judge reviewed everything. Prenup, evidence, dissipation of assets, all of it. Her lawyer made one final attempt. "Your Honor, my client acknowledges her mistakes, but the financial penalty will impact her for decades. She's asking the court to show mercy." Judge cut him off. "Counselor, your client signed a legally binding contract that explicitly outlined these consequences. She had independent representation. She understood the terms. She violated those terms. The court enforces contracts. Motion denied." Then the judge turned to my ex. "Ma'am, this court doesn't make moral judgments about infidelity, but it enforces legal agreements. You signed a prenup that protected your husband's assets and included specific penalties for adultery. You committed adultery multiple times based on evidence. You used marital funds to facilitate those affairs. These are the consequences you agreed to. My ex just stared at the table, said nothing. Final terms. All marital assets to me. She keeps personal belongings, her car, jewelry, clothes. She owes me $500,000 per the infidelity clause. She owes me $1,400 for dissipation of assets. Total, $5,800. Payment plan, $2,500 a month until paid, with wage garnishment if she misses payments. At her current salary, she'll be paying this for the next 17 years, maybe longer if she misses payments and interest builds. Her lawyer tried one last thing in the hallway after. Approached my lawyer. Any way your client would take a lump sum, even $100,000 to close this? No. She'll sign anything, non-disclosure, no disparagement clause, whatever. Judgment stands. If she wants to file bankruptcy, that's her choice. But support obligations and contractual penalties usually aren't dischargeable anyway. Her lawyer just nodded and walked away. He knew it was over. Haven't heard from my ex directly since it finalized. Have heard through mutual friends that she moved back in with her parents because she can't afford rent plus the payments. Her sister won't talk to her anymore after finding out about the multiple affairs. Even her mom is keeping distance. The guy I caught her with, no idea, don't care. People keep asking if I feel guilty, if the punishment fits the crime, if I'm being too harsh. Here's the thing. I didn't create these consequences. She did when she signed the prenup. I didn't force her to cheat. That was her choice. I didn't make her use our money to fund affairs. Also her choice. I just enforced an agreement we both willingly made. If the consequences are harsh, that's because the contract she signed made them harsh. Probably as a deterrent, which obviously didn't work. Do I feel bad she's struggling financially? Not really. She's college educated with a decent job. She'll figure it out. Lots of people have debt. Do I regret the prenup? Not even a little. This whole situation proved exactly why prenups matter. I built that business before I met her. Worked crazy hours, took huge risks, sacrificed a lot. Without the prenup, she could have walked away with half after cheating. Instead, she walks away with nothing and owes me money. Some people will think I'm cold, that I'm choosing money over love, that I should have tried to work it out. Those people didn't walk into their bedroom and find their spouse with someone else. Business is still doing well. I'm selling the house. Too many bad memories. Looking at condos downtown, fresh start. Dating? Not yet. Not even close. Going to take time to trust again. But I'm okay. Better than okay, actually. I'm free from a marriage that was a lie. Free from someone who didn't respect me or our vows. First payment from my ex hit my account last week. $2,500. Right on time. Probably automatic wage garnishment. I'm putting every payment into a separate investment account. In 17 years, when it's paid off, it'll be worth way more than $514 than $1,800 with interest. Maybe I'll donate it. Maybe I'll buy something nice, haven't decided. But every month when that payment hits, it's a reminder that actions have consequences, that contracts matter, that you can't do whatever you want without repercussions. She wanted the security of marriage while sleeping around. Wanted my money while disrespecting me. She got what she signed up for, just not the parts she thought she'd get away with ignoring. People have asked about the guy. Did I go after him, sue for alienation of affection? No. He's irrelevant. She's the one who made vows to me. She's the one who signed the prenup. He's just some guy who made bad choices, not worth my energy. Would I ever take her back if she apologized and wanted to work on things? Hard no. The cheating was bad. The multiple affairs over 2 years were worse. But lying about it being just one mistake when she knew she'd been cheating extensively, that killed any possibility. Even if I could forgive the cheating, I can't forgive the continued lying and manipulation. Trust is gone. Without trust, there's no relationship. Final question. Would I get another prenup if I remarry? Absolutely. Not because I expect to get cheated on, but because protecting assets you built before marriage just makes sense. It's not romantic, but neither is divorce. Better to have the uncomfortable conversation up front than the devastating one later. And yeah, there'd be an infidelity clause again. Maybe not $500,000, that was specific to my net worth, but something that makes it clear cheating has consequences, because it should. That's the whole story. Marriage over, prenup enforced, moving forward. Thanks for following along. Hope it's a reminder to protect yourself legally.